What a week. So this past weekend, we had some NFL football, of course. A lot of moving and shaking around when it comes to the schedule, from Baltimore having to reschedule and the Steelers rescheduling to it being rescheduled again and then it being rescheduled again, to the point that we're all in flux. Like, I didn't even realize there was 2 games. We're recording on Monday night. I didn't realize there were 2 games today. I thought that game got moved to Tuesday, when in all actuality there's another game on
a better game
Tuesday. And I'm baffled by how this pandemic response has gone on. But the biggest thing I'm really baffled by is by particular play by certain players. I'm talking about Carson Wentz.
Okay.
The Philadelphia quarterback leads the league in turnovers. He's probably one of the worst in completion percentage. Just overall, one of the worst quarterbacks in the league.
Getting sacked the most, too.
So obviously he's spending a lot of time on his back. His back is broke. I think it's spinal, but not literally. But I think if anything's broken is his spirits. His spirits are definitely broken spinal-wise, whereas he got pulled late in the game against who did they play against?
Oh, they played against the Packers.
The Packers, I'm sorry. I knew it was green. I was going to say G-Men. Don't say G-Men. It's green. They're playing the Packers. They pulled them late in the game, and they brought in Jalen Hurts, which we were all wondering how long it was going to take before Jalen Hurts gets put in the game. Now we have a Jalen Hurts sighting, and he actually looked pretty solid to come in there. But, of course, looks can be deceiving, because, as we will discuss here in a second. So, Jimmy, I am curious with you. Carson Wentz is completing 57% of his passes, which is the lowest of his career. Only 200 yards per game, which is pretty low for his career. 16 touchdowns, 15 picks, and he's been sacked 50 times. Jimmy,
David Carr territory.
Is the greatness of Carson Wentz over, or did the greatness ever actually exist?
I mean, if I'm to choose one, I would say the greatness didn't actually exist.
Oh, wow.
I think that he was a shooting star before anyone knew how to quench the fire that was him, which in a sense he did it himself that season when he unfortunately got hurt. Nick Foles go in, they win the Super Bowl, etc. But we thought, based upon that and having seen flashes since then, that he is a great quarterback, or that he was on his way to becoming the next great quarterback and was derailed by injuries. But I don't think that this was the season to prove that he was a great quarterback, or at least a really good quarterback. And being in the NFC East and your team is 3-8-1, this falls on his shoulders. He can't blame anybody for this. Yeah, he's got injuries to skill position players, but Philadelphia always does. Yeah, Frank Reich, his offensive coordinator, that rookie season when he did play really well, has been gone for 2 to 3 seasons now in Indianapolis. So you can't blame him, because you still have Doug Peterson, who was the Super Bowl winning coach, who was just as innovative on offense as Frank Reich. So you can't blame anyone at all. But I think that Carson Wentz's fate was sealed psychologically when they drafted Jalen Hurts in the 2nd round, because he knew that they wouldn't draft a quarterback in the 2nd round with absolutely zero intention of playing him. And it's the reason why you rarely see teams like Seattle or Kansas City draft quarterbacks. Why? Because they know that they truly don't need one. They have complete and utter faith in the quarterback that they have. So them drafting Jalen Hurts, especially a quarterback who was highly touted coming out of college, a Heisman finalist, he knew that his days were numbered. And I think that weighed on him psychologically. It's almost like the thing that Philadelphia did to protect themselves in case he wasn't good this season is the very thing that caused him to not be good, or it was a major contributing factor, because now he sees Jalen Hurts over there, a quarterback who was more successful in college at a bigger time program than him, and he's constantly thinking about it, and that's causing him to not play as well as he could. Now, that's not an excuse. That's part of the explanation to me, but either way, I think that Philadelphia did the right thing. They probably should have done it sooner, and I think that with this game coming up this Sunday, and I don't know who they play, I think that they won't do it, but I think that they should let Jalen Hurts start that game.
So for me, on that, I'm with you. I don't think that Carson Wentz was just as great as everybody's making him out to be.
Right.
So they actually play the Saints at home next week. So technically, if this is a game that Carson Wentz kind of needs to play, this is probably the better one.
No, he doesn't.
This is the better one.
Killed. He does not need to play in this game.
This is probably the better one because he's going against Taysom Hill. I think if there's a game that he should be playing in, this is his best way to redeem himself, if any game. But on that, I don't see why. I saw somewhere someone from a Philadelphia columnist. I'm sorry, I don't recall who it was, but they made mention that they felt like Carson Wentz was threatened or intimidated by the fact that Jalen Hurts was drafted second round and he's behind him, and his confidence is a little shot, and that's kind of why he's playing the way he's playing. I'm going to be honest. I think that's like the stupidest thing ever to me for two reasons. One, Carson Wentz knows that he's been hurt just about every single year he's been in the NFL. Every year. They've lost him, so he knows that they need to have some sort of a backup plan, and that if they kept Nick Foles, then he probably would have lost the starting job a long time ago, and Wentz basically would have been the backup. And when they got tired of Foles struggling, they would have put him in. So at that point, he should have understood that, okay, they are investing in me. Then number two, Jalen Hurts was not highly touted coming out of college. He has a lot of limitations that a lot of people have pointed out. One of those big limitations is he got benched in the national championship for Tua Tagovailoa. Not saying that Tua's not a good quarterback or that it was warranted, but you're in the national championship and you get benched at quarterback and you transfer out because you're never going to get that job again at a school that doesn't really produce quarterbacks. That right there to me is another red flag. So there's a lot of limitations behind Jalen Hurts. I like Jalen Hurts overall. I've always said that I think that he is a solid quarterback. I don't know if he's an NFL starter, but he is definitely a solid backup when you need someone to go in. So Wentz should not be intimidated by the fact that he got drafted. He should just be thinking about the fact that he's going to get hurt eventually, and Jalen Hurts is going to have to go in and save the season because Wentz cannot stay healthy. So from there, I don't get why he is intimidated by that part.
So you don't think Jalen Hurts breathing down his neck has anything to do with how he's playing? Like anything at all?
No, I think I think Carson Wentz is not that good. I think that he came into the league with, because this is the way that it was portrayed to all of us. Carson Wentz came into the league as similar of a a la Peyton Manning. When he was at North Dakota State, he went up to the line and he called the plays at the line. He made his own adjustments. He made his own changes. So we thought that he was so cerebral, he was going to be the next Peyton Manning. That was what we were told about him. Then he got out there and he started doing some pretty cool stuff. He could scramble, something we ain't never seen Peyton Manning do, but he could scramble and he can get to moving while throwing on the go. But this is something that we didn't recognize. Oh, correction. This is something we didn't pay too much attention to. So Steven Ruiz with USA Today had put an article out a couple of days ago about Carson Wentz. And the article basically says Carson Wentz hasn't gotten any worse. He's just always been mediocre. And he started pointing out some things that I didn't even think about when it comes to the way that he was quote unquote stat stuffing. First off, ever since he was an MVP candidate in 2017, Wentz has been one of the worst starters in the NFL, ranking 27th in adjusted yards per attempt. The only quarterbacks that's worse than him, Mitch Trubisky, Andy Dalton, and Sam Darnold. At 1,000 passes over that time period. That's scary. That should be something scary to look at. Then he went down on some of the other things that Carson Wentz has been. So this is the reason why I say that Jalen Hurts isn't the problem. He was already bad 3 years ago. This is just now coming to fruition with everybody on this team hurt.
Now he's gotten so bad he can't even read a defense. Those 50 sacks, those aren't all coverage sacks. Maybe some of them are, but most of those he doesn't know what he's looking at because psychologically he's clouded because he's got this other quarterback. Now, I will amend one thing, even though I disagree with most of what you said. I will amend one thing in calling Jalen Hurts touted. I'll say he was a quarterback who was very successful his senior season, and he's intriguing because of his size and his mobility, and size as in his smaller size. But we're in the era of seeing quarterbacks like that who have been successful,
right? Such
as your Russell Wilsons and your Kyler Murrays. No, he's not as fast as them or whatever, but he's an intriguing prospect. That's part of the reason why they didn't wait till the third or the fourth round to draft him. They got him in the second round. So I think that that's part of it. And anybody at their job, if your employer basically tells you that not only have we gotten your replacement, but we're going to have them watch your every move. And when you are bad enough, we're going to replace you with them. That's exactly what happened to them. Now, some people, that might elevate them to actually do better and try harder because, in a sense, look at what it's doing to Aaron Rodgers. But for a lot of other people, they will start to break down even further, like you said, or like the individual mentioned, because of their confidence, because they're thinking about too many things other than what they're supposed to be focusing on. So, yes, he's been a mediocre quarterback, as the Next Gen stat pointed out, but he seems to have gotten even worse this season, having led an NFC least team to 3-8-1. So they may think, or you may think, that Jalen Hurts has absolutely nothing to do with what's going on in his head and why he's getting even worse and why he got benched. But I think that he has at least 25% to do with what's going on with Carson Wentz this season.
Fair.
Yeah.
I'll say that's fair to give him about 25%. I would teeter closer to a 10%, only because, like I said, he's been bad. His backup quarterback won the Super Bowl, Jimmy. His backup quarterback won a Super Bowl 3 years ago, and we don't feel like this man was threatened.
Here's the thing, though. Those stats, though, it almost makes it look like he's sort of been sort of calmly going along this line of really less than mediocrity if you're putting him in the same class as like your Sam Darnolds of the world with how he's played in New York. But I've seen Wentz go up and down. I've seen him show those flashes even last season, and then he falls off the cliff. Then he's decent, then he falls off the cliff. He's an excruciating fantasy quarterback to have. I know this because I had him last season, and I refused to draft him this season for that reason, because you don't know what to expect. He shows you the guy like, oh, there's 2017 Carson Wentz, and then a game later, oh, no, there's 2020 Carson Wentz. That's his problem, is the inconsistency, and it's not going to get any better. He better pray they don't throw him out there against the Saints defense as good as they're playing, looking every bit like the number one seed in the NFC, because it's going to get even worse. His confidence psychologically is going to get even worse in this game. So he better pray they put Jalen Hurts out there. But Jalen's looking at Cam Jordan and Marshawn Lattimore like, hey, I want to be out there.
Well, actually, he's probably like, I can do it. I can run faster than
I hope
them.
so. I want to see him out there. That's true.